Because if the channels are blocked, a time will come, the water will have nowhere to pass, and therefore it will enter our rooms, enter our shops, enter our schools, enter the hospitals.
Tanga de ta kwama tanga ti kwama dale swakala jalla mankaro dela nyum kwa fe kama te ti yeti bimena cheru uluma te ti yeti dela nyum kwa fe kama te ti yeti.
Welcome to another episode of The Spotlight. My name is Akwinye Michael. The Spotlight is brought to you by Voice of Buluk. If you're not following us yet, please go to social media, your favorite social media platform. Search for Voice of Buluk. Like, comment, share, and follow us so that you will continue to support us. Today on The Spotlight, we are going to put the spotlight on Buluk. We are going to put the spotlight on developmental issues in Buluk, especially how we build in Buluk. Recently, we saw how flooding in Accra and other parts of the country destroyed a lot of properties, brought a lot of havoc on people and even to the government, because the government had to allocate resources that could have been used for other things to support the flood victims. Also, recently, our brother Candace Akisipak, he also shot a video of how flooding destroyed a lot of areas in Sandema, okay, the capital of the Builsa North municipality. We saw how just a few hours of rain flooded the entire Sandema township. That is why today this video is very important. That is why today it is important that we talk about this. What we are saying is there is a trend, okay, as development keeps coming in, as people keep building or as people decide to build new houses, there are going to be a lot of clusters. There are going to be a lot of buildings, a lot of businesses, a lot of structures, okay? And then if care is not taken, if the right thing is not done, a lot of these structures, a lot of these buildings will be built on waterways. And that is what is even happening in Buluk. That is why Sandema was flooded, because most of the places where the water should have passed, buildings are taking over the place. That is something that the leadership of Buluk will have to start thinking about it and finding ways to solve it before it becomes too late. When you come to Fumbisi, the district capital of the Builsa South, the same thing is happening. People are building on waterways. When you go to the valleys, there are valleys around. People are building at where the water is supposed to pass through to get to those valleys. People are building. What it means that people are cutting off the flow of water. This is not a problem right now. But eventually, if we do not stop, or if the authorities do not sit up to ensure that people build the right way, eventually, we are going to start experiencing flooding in Fumbisi, as we saw in Sandema. We are calling on the district planning department, we are calling on those who are in charge to start taking action now, so that anyone who buys land on waterway or anyone who puts up a structure on the waterway, we should be able to find a way for the water to flow. If we do not do that, a time is coming. We are just delaying the problem for the future. Because right now, I can tell you, if you go along the Fumsek Road, Fumbisi Senior High, that road, there's a place where water flows to a dam over there. If you check, there are a lot of buildings cutting off where the water will flow to the dam. And that is a threat. That is a serious threat. On the Builsa Road as well, you see that people are putting up buildings at where water is supposed to what? Flow through. That is also a threat. Sometimes I ask, before they put up the buildings, are the authorities aware? Do the authorities come there to do inspections? Do they grant them the right to build those structures over there? We are raising this alarm today Because if we don't begin to find places for water to flow today, eventually we are going to start suffering the fate that Accra is suffering. We are going to start seeing flood disaster in Buluk if care is not taken. This is a red flag notice that voice of Buluk is raising through the spotlight. That we should start looking at that area. If you are putting up a building, there should be a place for the water to flow. We should ensure that the channels are not blocked. Because if the channels are blocked, a time will come, the water will have nowhere to pass, and therefore it will enter our rooms, enter our shops, enter our schools, enter the hospitals, and then flood the entire streets. And during those times, we are likely to spend more to solve the problem than today. If we wait until we get to a point where Buluk begins to flood, like we are seeing in Sandema, we are going to spend more money to solve the problem than solving the problem today. So we are calling on all the right authorities, the Builsa North Municipality and then the Builsa South District Assembly. What we are saying is that they should take charge and ensure that drainages are constructed for the free flow of water. Because this is a problem that if we don't handle it today, we will pay for it in future. So to our leaders, and then to the people of Buluk, to the good people of Buluk, before you put up a building, ensure that your site planning and everything is well checked out so that you don't end up blocking the flow of water, because one day you will lose your property. Because when the flood takes over your property, you have no other choice than to move away from that place or relocate, or it has to be pushed down for drainages to be built. So don't put yourself in a situation where one day your building that you suffered, that you toiled, that you saved a whole lot of years to build will one day collapse because of what? Flood water. So this is a red flag notice. We are raising this concern so that if you are a concerned Bulsa, if you are a concerned leader, you start thinking about it so that one day we don't become the likes of Accra. Buluk is still developing. Therefore, we have the time to structure it properly. We have the time to ensure that the drainages are built. We have the time to ensure that nobody builds on waterways. Other than that, we will have ourselves to blame in future. So, Fedanka Bula, Malawi and Dilali, Tila se dininga, ase yenga, albala zanyatinga swininga pola. Chundi po, Fedanka tali ti jam, a joti yenga. Because nyama dan jam butam, ati nyama buvuku fedan se dozanku buvuku po, buya ba jofu dogopo. Ya buja a sueka yenga po miena at waru manka. Dangare tinja ko chabo Sandema nga, ti nyamu jan suye tenka po miena. Lati te aba wiente panga benye ko krete ba yi design at wangala miena banga pilenga gomsinga yore so that Buluk akanja nyesi Accra at yore nyema ya ba virgin miena dila. Bulu di ma develop nga te diem baga aye gwata nga yesu ni adu nga mas nyema tam te na kan yedla yore chundipo ta dek aliye ti jama ngma te dek. That is the message for you today. This has been the Spotlight with me, Akwinya Michael. Do well to follow us, like our videos, share our videos, and comment and let us know what you think about the content we are creating for Buluk. Until next time, stay blessed.
Tanga de ta tanga de ta kwamatanga, ti kwamada le swakala jalla mankaro. Dela nyum kwa fe kama te ti yeti, bimena cheru uluma te ti yeti. Dela nyum kwa fe kama te ti yeti. Bimena cheru ulumo atom ti mangsa. Bimena cheru ulumyo atetenye yeti. Timena cherulumo atom tinangsa. Timena cherulumyo atetenye yeti.